Hey, it worked.
Wonderful.
There we go. We are live. So I thought at 0 would do something a little cooler. It just was like out. But there we go. So welcome one and all to our weekly Thursday night live stream. As you guys might see on the screen, the format has changed a little bit in two ways. One, we're using kind of a different software setup here. So feel free to let us know in the comments if things are not working, because it's a serious possibility that they might not be. And we love to hear about that. You know, I talked about this last week. There were two of these I did where my mic was set to my webcam mic the entire time and no one said anything. So I rewatch and it sounds like I'm filming in like a bathroom and the echo is like insane. So trying to avoid that situation again. And the other difference is we have a third guest. Let's see, let's point the right way. We have Star Wars Complete on the channel as our guest this Thursday. We can find his channel down in the link below. If you guys have not checked him out, I'm ashamed that you guys have not checked him out yet, but make sure you do after the stream. Make sure you like and subscribe. Welcome, Star Wars Complete, to the channel. Anything you want to say before we get started?
The only thing really is just like, thank you for having me on. I've been watching your streams almost every week as much as I can, and I'm a fan of both your channels. So being here is actually really exciting. I was super nervous before I hopped in, but I'm just like ready to go.
Yeah, no,
we appreciate it, man. There was two of us. Now there's three. It's like a clone army.
That's right. That's right. We're starting the productions of
went
of
from
our
the
clone
rule
series.
of two to the Sith triumvirate.
There you
That's
go.
right. That's right. Good work. Well, as everyone knows, we use this as kind of a weekly roundup of all the news that's gone on throughout the week. I think there are times where there are some topics that we make a video on, and then a couple days go by, our opinions might change. Or it's a smaller story and we maybe don't put the time in to make a full video. We like to capture those both as well. So that's really going to be the focus today. This is a unique situation where we have a full week and more that is supposed to go crazy tomorrow. So this is going to be a lot to talk about. A lot is going to be going on. But before we get in, I'll let some folks get in, make sure everyone's here before we start the major stories. Let's start with you, Ben. What has been going on in your week? What are you reading? What are you doing Star Wars related? What's got you most excited? Tell me about it.
So I just produced my biggest recommendation list of the Star Wars books. So I tackled both Legends and Canon in hopes to bring, the two together and show the fans that really you can go either way, either route, and enjoy both. And that there are plenty of books to begin with and just have a lot of fun. And Josh, as our tradition, you can hear it. Hello from New York. It's just doing that, and it's catching quite a lot of attention in terms of like regulars, fans who watch it, and they're giving me replies like, "Hey Ben, I know this book, I know that book." Yeah. It's a lot of fans feel intimidated sometimes. Like, what's this good starting point? And it feels so good to get this reception when people tell you like, this is really helping me. It really like stimulates you as a YouTuber content maker to say, I'm going to make more videos like it,
Absolutely. And if you guys have not been to Timeline's channel today, checked it out. He put together, it's like a 40-minute video, right? It's huge, covering all of the best beginner friendly Star Wars books. It's very helpful because I know starting off, it can be like you said, a mountain of content. So sometimes having that guide can be well appreciated. So go check that out for sure. So Star Wars Complete, Jimmy, on your side, What are you up to? What have you been reading? What's going on in your life?
So I just uploaded a video today, like the rest of the world, talking about the concept art for Kenobi. It was just like my first impressions because I just wanted to see at first glance what I thought about it. I'm sure we'll go much more in depth here. As far as reading goes, I'm still going through Ronin. I'm about half of the way through that. Really enjoying that so far. If you haven't, definitely recommend it. It's unlike Star Wars, but it is Star Wars, and I just love that. And as far as like anything else, my girlfriend actually was the one that broke the news to me that Andor had a somewhat of a date set for the fourth quarter of next year, and I was just like, all right, finally.
Yeah. Are you excited for it?
I am. And it's weird because I think Andor is like one of the shows we like learned about really early on, and I've heard just absolutely nothing about it besides the sizzle reel from last year. So now that we're like, okay, it's getting a Q4 release, but no date, I'm just like,
it feels like Josh and I, we talked about it briefly. It's like nobody really knew that they wanted Rogue One until it came out, right? And everybody's
Yeah.
like, it blew everybody's mind. Same here. They're almost like taking the same approach. Let's keep it quiet. Let's keep it on the low. And then when it's out there, people will be talking about it, you know?
I anticipate we'll see more tomorrow. I think that would be a good reveal. Maybe, it is challenging, and we'll talk about a lot of these reveals. How do you balance keeping excitement for the most? You have projects coming out, and this months in advance. So how do you make sure that you're balancing the hype, right? You want the hype to be on the newest show, and you want to make sure you're balancing it correctly so people are excited when they should be. So we shall see, I'm sure, a little bit more about Andor tomorrow. So without further ado, we've already started to lay the groundwork. This was a big week as far as, I'd say, rumors and leaks. And the reason for that is we know what tomorrow is. It's Disney Plus Day. And we know for a fact, this is not speculation, we're going to get a lot of announcements throughout the week. And those are throughout the day, excuse me. And those are mainly for us going to be exciting for the Star Wars news. The biggest, I think, the biggest show, I think, coming out on Disney Plus for Star Wars fans has got to be Kenobi. And so everyone has been waiting to see what are we going to find out. And it was a very interesting situation that occurred. Let's switch over to the screen and lay the groundwork. So I'm going to tee this off, my experience, and I want to hear from you guys. So I'm sitting there this morning. It is Veterans Day here in the US. So I was actually off. It was a holiday. I am waiting patiently for tomorrow's big reveals. As I'm sitting there, I'm looking through my feed. All of a sudden, I start seeing tweets just like this, right? Obi-Wan Kenobi concept art. They're popping up, and we'll go deep in a second. And I'm like, what's going on? Is there a trailer? What happened? And then all of a sudden, I see this, what they call a sizzle reel come up, where it's a mixture of a little bit of concept art, a little bit of behind the scenes. And I get my camera. I'm like, okay, well, I might react to this. Is this what they're going to, is this what they were going to reveal for Disney Plus Day? And then it starts getting pulled from the internet. All the videos start getting taken down. Yeah. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, did the big reveal leak early? And what I've heard is that there's going to be additional special footage that we're going to get tomorrow. This sizzle reel was like for the investment call, I guess, and that kind of just came out, but it's not the main reveal for tomorrow. But let me ask you guys, how did this experience happen to you? Because it totally caught me off guard. I was not expecting to see anything today. It seemed like almost a slip up on Disney's side. How did you find about the leaks? What was your first thoughts? Just seeing
Jimmy, take it away. You're our guest. Would love to hear you first.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So I saw everything flying through Twitter, and my first thought was, because everyone was saying Obi-Wan stuff was leaking all over the internet, and I was like, oh boy. But then I saw all the concept art, and I was like, wait, I thought we were supposed to be getting a trailer tomorrow. At least, we've all led it to believe that we were. So I was like, are we going to get a sizzle reel instead of a teaser? Is that what this is? And then as I looked, I was like, oh, this is stuff that leaked from last year's investor meeting that we didn't get to see. Mm-hmm. So I was excited for that. And I think I'm more excited to see the additional footage tomorrow, because I went back to one of my videos that I made months ago when the news came out talking about what they saw in the investor meeting, when it was just like the descriptions. And there's a lot of descriptions from the sizzle reel that we haven't seen yet. So the one that was uploaded online and then like quickly deleted, and then someone like kept re-uploading it. I think it was only part of it. Yeah. But from what I'm seeing from the concept art, it's very interesting. It's very inviting and exciting. I'm looking forward to it. And we will look through and talk about all the pictures that came out here shortly. And just to add to what Jimmy had said, so this was some of the tweets I saw. Jordan Mason, he is what I'd call like a borderline scoop. He gets some. Who scoops.
Is he, by the way? I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know why he gets info, but he gets info. I followed his Twitter account, and he has been dead on for a lot of scoops. I'm not sure what kind of connections he has. He has his own website, I believe, with Star Wars news. We can maybe find out here. I believe it's Cinelinks. He's got his own website, and he's kind of what I'd call an entry-level scooper. And he had mentioned, I believe we're going to get an actual teaser / footage for Kenobi tomorrow, not just the sizzle that leaked. And he was not the only one who said that. I also saw that from Eckhart's Ladder. If I had it pulled up here, I don't think I do. Eckhart's Ladder said something very similar. Another huge name in the Star Wars YouTube scene. So I trust the two of I trust the two of them there. So definitely expect we're going to get something additional besides those leaks. So before we do the detailed view, Ben, give me your thoughts. How did you find out about this? What was your reaction?
From you, actually. You texted me like, Ben, there's a trend. And, I'm like, I took a walk, just like a slow day for me. Like, let me go get some fresh air. And I'm thinking to myself, do I have to like jump hoops or like run home to like crowds of people just to get and record a reaction? And then I'm asking you and you're telling me like, hey, they're taking it down as just a reel. And then kind of my excitement level just went down a little bit. I'm like, okay, I'll go home. I'll check it, whatever. It's nothing I have to react to. And then I see these pictures. And if one thing that has been consistent with like all of these pre-production works and like getting people excited, remember the first sizzle reel for The Force Awakens? What they do know how to do expertly is like grab your attention. And the moment I saw these, I'm like, oh, this is Ralph McQuarrie all over again. And it's like, you can't help but feel excited. But there's one image that I'd read, and I guess we'll get to it.
Wait. I knew you would. I knew immediately.
I don't want to jump ahead. I
want to call it the comment from this cracks me up. So Dat Boy Steve had said, this is actually my first seeing any of this. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. That goes to show you, and I've thought about this, and I wonder if you guys have experienced it as well. If you aren't on Twitter for like a day, you'd be amazed how much Star Wars news flies through that feed. You really would. Let's say you don't check YouTube or Twitter till like 8 p.m. I'll get on and be like, what did I miss? I missed an entire epic of information. So I'm glad that we could be the first ones to get you up to speed, because we're going to look at all the pictures. Now, feel free, Jimmy, Ben, if I miss a piece that you wanted to talk about, I grabbed all the ones that I could find to talk about. And I want to start with, this is the first kind of set of pictures I had seen. And we will let's go for the jumbo view here. So this is an interesting one. It just seems like kind of general scenery, but I totally dig the vibe. Do you guys have any indications of where this is? What are your thoughts? It's just to be probably some set piece design, but I'm really digging what I assume is going to be more exposure to the Empire, kind of establishing the roots, similar to what we started to see in Bad Batch, right? Where the Bad Batch kind of showed the Empire really gaining their foothold. I assume this is going to be after that, and we'll see maybe a more young Empire. But what are your first thoughts on just some of the scenery here? Any ideas what the city is, what's going on?
My first initial response was, once again, we're coming back to McQuarrie, and he has this wonderful painting of the Coruscant, or what they used to call the Imperial Center world, right? Lots of yellows, lots of darks. And I don't know why, but this image triggers some Imperial power to me. It's like, is it somewhere in the immediate surroundings, like a neighborhood where, Vader's fortress is on Coruscant, or is it something just like people who are loyal to the Empire? So that was my first reaction. I don't even know what to think of it, honestly.
Yeah. Absolutely. Jimmy, on your side, anything? This is maybe the lamest of the pictures, as far as it just looks like. It just looks like Star Wars scenery, right? But
and it does. But when I first saw it, I looked through it, and instantly my head kind of went to Tatooine. I was like, it could be somewhere we haven't seen, mainly because of the use of the color yellow. There's a lot of tans in there, and it is very dark. But also, if we look up like toward the far right of the picture, it's almost like there's a gate up there, and it's very. The architecture of it kind of feels like Jabba's palace almost. So I feel like it's in that same kind of area that would be Tatooine, be it, maybe it's Bestine or Anchorhead or something like that.
You do point out something that drew my attention as well. This sort of patterning up here, we saw a lot of in the Book of Boba Fett trailer behind the Ithorian in the throne room. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we'll move on. I do want to call out here. I see Blue Milk Mama is in the chat, and she did kind of say exactly what we said a second ago, which is it was the investor promo from last year that we didn't get to see. So there's still new reveals to come tomorrow and to be excited about. So we love to hear that. Let's get into this here. This was a big picture in the sense that it confirms what I think the worst kept secret about this show, which is we have Inquisitors coming, right? I think everyone knows there's Inquisitors coming, which is very exciting to me. I'd really like to see, it was interesting to me the first time we saw these Inquisitors, your mind just naturally goes to, well, where were they in A New Hope? What happened to them? Where were they? Did Kenobi ever confront them? And we're going to see that, it looks like. And that to me is very exciting. Love the ship design. Fantastic. Let's pass it over to Jimmy. Your thoughts on the Inquisitor promo here?
So I really loved this picture because just right off the bat, you get three real big obvious things. One, it's on Tatooine. Two, the Inquisitor ship that we have here, or the shuttle, I guess. I love this design. It's very reminiscent of Krennic's Delta class. So almost identical, with the exception of like the wing shortage and all that. And then the Inquisitor that we have walking out, I'm sure everyone else picked up on it too. Looks just like Trilla from the Jedi Fallen Order game.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But so from that, I got two thoughts, and it was either, okay, so maybe this will take place before the game, or because it's concept art, they just threw one in there.
Yeah.
'Cause that's a big one that they've done before. They've always done a lot of concept art with characters that already exist, just as a placeholder that'll be changed around later, like the whole Plo Koon thing that happened with Mandalorian.
Absolutely. Dat Boy Steve, Inquisitors do have cool ships. I really like it. And I totally agree with you, Jimmy. It could absolutely be, okay, we need an Inquisitor for this concept art. Let's just pick one we've already designed and established to get the feel of a shot. And we could get a totally different one in the final product. Go ahead, Timeline. Where are you at?
You know what? I wasn't one bit surprised, honestly. This may come as a surprise to somebody who just, let's say, sticks to movies or strictly reads the books, and they don't want to have anything to do with Clone Wars or Rebels or all these shows. But when you like consume all this content and you know where things are placed and where they exist, like, it's inevitable. It would be such a huge missed opportunity if we don't get Inquisitors. You know what I really appreciate about this? Maybe it wasn't intended to be revealed just yet, but the fact that we are seeing it, like I recently started talking about on my channel and on the podcast as well, that there's a lot of stuff happening in modern television and shows and cinema where they rely a lot of plot twists and secrets and reveals, like, oh my God, but you didn't see this coming. And it becomes very grating and annoying because it takes away from powerful storytelling. I always have a mantra of saying that the most memorable stories are the simplest ones. And here, being able to see, okay, yes, Kenobi is going to deal with Inquisitors, but how it's going to be presented, what's the format here, what's the story, what's the reward at the end of the show. I think if that is handled right, I'm okay with seeing a show that is very straightforward. It doesn't have many great reveals. So I'm happy to that. And what's interesting also about this particular image, it almost, in a way, and that's the design of any concept art, is kind of like expand your imagination. When you look at this one artwork, it makes you feel, so what does the world of Kenobi, the show that we're getting, what does it look like outside of that show? Are we going to get a supplementary video game? Is it going to be an animated show continuing that storyline with Kenobi? Like, what's the deal here,
Yeah. You're absolutely, I mean, with everything we're looking at, it is concept art, and you're dead on it. It's to help visualize, it's to help the brainstorm sessions move forward. So we don't know if any of this actual ship design or anything we're seeing is going to make it to the final show, but we do know there's going to be a lot of things related to this, and that's why we see these designs. So absolutely love the ship design. Yeah, go ahead.
Just one quick thing to add about that, because I mentioned how they may have just put in the Inquisitor just as a placeholder. Same thing with the ship. You got to think now that the artists that are making these concept designs are fans just like we are, and that sometimes they'll put that in there, like, they're going to theorize over this, but it's not even going to be that later.
Yeah, bait and switch.
Yeah, good old bait and switch.
Bait and switch. All right, great. Nonetheless, I absolutely love this piece. I think this one kind of got maybe left out in the hype of the bigger reveals coming. What I've been able to piece together here is we are looking at an underwater Empire base. Is that what I'm saying? To me, this looks underwater. I don't know if I'm crazy here. What I absolutely love about this is three things I'll say. First of all, I love the color palette. I love the blues with the dark green. To me, I love the vibe I'm getting. It has this kind of ominous feel to it that I really enjoy. And I also love the scale. Are you looking at the size of these windows, the size of these ceilings? It just feels so grand to me. Yeah, Dune-esque. Yeah,
from Dune.
Yeah, I love it. I think it invokes emotions in a hallway, and that I think is really cool. Ben, get us started here. Have you seen this picture yet? First of all, if so, what are your thoughts at what I think is an underwater base?
I think so too, and this might be directly related to once again, Vader's facility. For those of you guys who played the Jedi Fallen Order, which immediately became my favorite Star Wars game of all time, and honestly one of the best Star Wars stories, because it's so condensed and simple. But what it accomplished to do was to expand that lore of where these Inquisitors are in relationship to Vader. Because remember, you and I had this conversation about the original trilogy, and I mentioned as a kid, when you first encounter Vader in the 80s, and you have to remember, guys, this is the days where we didn't get a lot of lore or expanded universe. It's just the movies, right? And you just see Vader, and your first thought is, well, there's got to be more like him. And we got that in the Fallen Order. And now looking at this, which once again brings everything full circle, I'm thinking to myself, what if we get a lot more Vader in the show that we presume? What if we get into the whole inquisitorial program of how this thing gets into motion? And because Vader's facility was also underwater in the video game, what if this is directly related to that structure?
Yeah. That is a great thought. Again, it is concept art, so we don't know if this is ever going to make it in. Jimmy, take us away. What are your thoughts on what I'm calling underwater Death Star? No, I'm just kidding. What do you think?
Underwater Death Star speculation. So this one was a little harder for me to piece together because I thought long and hard about like where this location could be and what it is. And I do agree with you, Josh, that it is underwater, and with my girlfriend Gail talk in the chat. She said it's giving BioShock Rapture, and I'm like, and it kind of does give that the color of BioShock, how it's always underwater. So I definitely want to say it's underwater.
Mhm.
If you want to throw theories out there, maybe they decided to do something with the Camino facility now that it's at the bottom of the ocean, or maybe it's like they're trying to bring back other planets. Maybe it's Manon. Maybe it's the planet that we saw in Heart of the Jedi.
What I've noticed, so to your point about the Kaminoans, I mean, they are synonymous with being underwater, like it is such a thing we see. But I've noticed in a lot of the new extended content, so Bad Batch, Mandalorian, we do see so much cloning focus. So the end of Bad Batch season 1, minor spoilers. I mean, we see that the Empire obviously has a vested interest in cloning. We see this again in Mandalorian when we stumble upon a few Empire cloning facilities. We obviously know what happens in the sequel trilogy with cloning. I just see, to me, and I could be totally off base, I just see such a cloning secret ops focus in all these new shows. So maybe we're seeing some of the groundwork for that here. You're absolutely correct. At least, we can speculate.
Yeah.
All right. I love this artwork, by the way. I think it's fantastic. I get this like on my
it's beautiful.
wall. It's just beautiful. I really like whoever did this. Kudos to you. Kudos to you. Let's take a peek at what I'd call the last kind of let me get a better view here. The last minor one without sounding not to be too flippant, because this is some gorgeous artwork. But we have Old Man Kenobi, where we have kind of the thick beard, I think is what they're envisioning for this age of Kenobi. Looks like we're on Tatooine here, obviously. This to me doesn't tell me much more besides the fact that we're seeing that weathered Kenobi look. I think he looks amazing in this art, so I hope that they do capture him. And I think he'll be rocking the beard with a little gray in it. I'm expecting that, so I'm excited. Thoughts, guys? Who wants to go first? Give me your thoughts on Old Man Kenobi here.
I'm curious what Jimmy has to say, because I have to say a lot.
I think this is the picture that everyone was waiting for, because this is the true go back to A New Hope, when the circle is now complete. This is the completion of Ewan McGregor going from the apprentice of Obi-Wan Kenobi to becoming Ben Kenobi. This isn't Obi-Wan anymore. This is Ben Kenobi in, I suppose, that character's version of their prime, out and about, just living it on Tatooine. And I'm just so here for it. Just everything about it just excites me.
All right, everyone, get a drink, start stretching out. Let's see what Ben's got to say about this picture.
Take it away.
All right. Josh, can you do me a solid? Could you please Google real quick John Jackson Miller's Kenobi novel? Just type Kenobi.
I knew it.
Oh, dude.
Pull it up.
Pull that cover up. Pull that sucker up. Yeah, the second one probably. Yeah. Gorgeous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So I think valid criticism and critique is a good thing in Star Wars. And I love John Jackson Miller. I think he's a very, very talented guy, right? Sometimes you have things that just don't connect. Sometimes you are, work too much on a single thing. Your mind is single-minded and you just run into like having lack of ideas. This book was, and the reason I asked you to bring it forward is basically exactly what Kenobi looks like in that concept art, right? this book had so much premise as a space western, as the return to Tatooine, as Kenobi watching over, looking out for Luke, and setting up possibly the future of the rebellion. It had so much promise, and when you get to the book, none of the rewards are there. I mean, this to keep that very long story that you guys prepared and braced for short, it had so much promise of meeting Kenobi, and not only he doesn't have true communication to Qui-Gon, which by all means, if there was only one thing in this novel, it should have been that. His calls to Qui-Gon Jinn are never answered. His PTSD from the Clone Wars is never there. Anyway, to make long story short, this book kind of like failed in a major way on the premise of Kenobi. I'm just dreading they're not going to do the same with the show. To send him off on some crazy crusade and then only to come back and have one standoff with Vader is like, goodbye, you just saw the Kenobi show. What I really want to have is, and I always repeat it like a broken record, is that you need the coolest visuals, the coolest action, and the scenery and the technology all inform a powerful story. If you don't have a story on your hands, all of this cool stuff is going to be forgettable in days. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I'm sort of dreading. I'm like, please don't be like that book. Focus on what makes Kenobi tick, what makes him important and memorable.
You know,
my 2 cents.
Yeah, and we'll talk about obviously some what I consider the biggest pictures. We'll talk about here shortly. Let's call a couple things out from chat. I see Logan here mentioned. I wish, and I'm actually agreeing. This is a very minor nitpick, but I just thought I'd call it out. I wish the show was called Kenobi, like Andor or Solo, and I agree. I think it just sounds better than Obi-Wan. You know, regardless, that's a minor complaint there. But Dat Boy Steve said something, and I think it was back up here. It says, if Kenobi isn't dealing with PTSD in the show, you know, I'll be very surprised. And it kind of lined up with what you were saying, you know, Ben, that's something I think we want to see with the character and see, you know, we don't know the impact of Order 66 and the loss of Anakin, how that movie ends. I mean, the devastation that must have had on Obi-Wan. We have to see that, right? It has to have done something. I can't imagine, you know, the amount of pain that character had to go through with those events. So I absolutely hope we explore what that recovering from that, what that was like. Right.
I think, I think that would just be like poetic justice, almost like in the prequels, you know, you had Anakin waking up in cold sweat from the visions he was having. And I think doing that same thing again, but having it not necessarily visions, but like just dreams and flashbacks, kind of like what F was dealing with in The Village Bride. It was just like a quick flash of a lightsaber and just like, what happened?
Yeah.
So seeing him just
that's
completely
a great point.
Broken down from that would be perfect.
Now you've perfectly segued into what I'll call the biggest. Well, I won't say they're the biggest for everyone, but I saw this pop. This is the first thing that I saw pop up on my feed of the pictures, and obviously this to me was the most surprising, the most, you know, out of left field. I was so surprised to see this artwork come out. Let's start with Vader in Vader's castle, looking amazing. I expected to see this in the show. I absolutely expect we're going to, just like we did in Rogue One, where you see that Vader presence, which I love those scenes, by the way, kind of seeing the castle, you know, Mustafar. And I think we have another shot of it. Let's see. Yeah. Kind of more of a wide shot here that we'll pull up.
You're talking about the scene where Vader interacts with Krennic quickly,
exactly,
right? And then don't choke on your inspirations. That scene, right?
I expect to see that. I expected to see that in Kenobi. I mean, that was when they said Hayden Christensen was coming. I expected to see kind of an unmasked scene where he's in the back to tank or whatever, kind of reminiscent of where you see him without the helmet, and then a scene where he hears that they're hunting Kenobi, or you get an update from the Inquisitors. That is kind of how I thought he'd be used in his extent, is he'd be, because I don't think it would be right to have a Kenobi show and never see Darth Vader. That would not be, it wouldn't make sense to me how that would not be a focus for Vader at that time, was finding Kenobi or eliminating Kenobi, right? To me, it would be totally shocking. So anyway, Vader's castle, absolutely love these shots. This is an amazing, I mean, again, the architecture, the grandness of it, fantastic. Go ahead, guys, take it away. What are your thoughts on the Castle of Vader?
It's just a completely just beautiful shot. Like, I've always wanted to see more of Vader's castle. I think it was, I don't want to say it's severely underused in Rogue One, but it was used just to the point of like are we not going back? I'd like to see more of this, please. So having him just sit there, the fact that he just has a throne right there, and I would love to know who he's talking to there. Like, or maybe he's not even talking. Maybe this is just a
video clip or holo.
Here we go. Yeah, here's the holo message from Obi-Wan telling all surviving Jedi to stay away from the temple.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be a good one.
That's cool. I like that. All right. Now we're going to talk about the next picture, Ben. I think Ben is going to have a lot of thoughts on this. Let's just start with the castle. What are your thoughts on the castle? What do you think of Vader sitting here? Is this what you expected?
Not really. I didn't expect anything that much of Vader's personal space, like as grand as his castle as well. But looking at the concept art, it brings me back to that childhood moment where it just expands your imagination, And I'm currently I'm on the second book of Dune, right? And what Dune makes full use of is all the lore and story that exists outside of the book. So the author very deliberately just sparks your imagination of what's possible, what's out there, what are these people like, right? What is the conflict, but not giving you the full picture in order for your imagination to interact with it and make that story yours. I think it takes an expert to know just how much information to put in a book, in a movie, or into an image like this one. And I think it would enhance Kenobi's show. I think it's the best scenario if the show is on the shorter list of episodes, but really grand, rather than more episodes, but the story feels like filler and they're just putting things in it just to milk it. So what this particular image represents with the castle, perhaps we see Vader, perhaps we see his interaction with the third party that we're not even aware of. Give us just a glimpse, just enough to get curious about and drop it off there. Don't give us too much.
I have a feeling we will see Vader interact with the Inquisitors in some form or fashion, right? I mean, that's just got to be obvious. Maybe that's who he's talking to. To your point, the way the holo looks, it almost did look like it was Obi-Wan or a figure hooded and bright. So maybe it is watching an old holo or something like that. So fantastic design to Vader's castle. I think we all agree. There's the Lego special on Disney Plus for Halloween. That's like Vader's castle. It was actually pretty fun to watch. If you guys haven't seen it yet, it's definitely fun. That's the most we've seen of Vader's castle. it's that special.
Yeah.
So very
does it
good.
break down into like Lego pieces?
Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it for you. You gotta watch.
Right.
All right, let's talk about the shot. Let's talk about the money shot.
The shot.
This pops up in my feed, and the first thing I thought was, man, Ben is not gonna be happy about this. And my second thought was, okay, is this really happening? Is this a real fight? Is this a vision, to your point? Is this a flashback that they're just using, kind of like a nightmare or a force vision that Obi-Wan is remembering their fight on Mustafar, but Anakin is in the Vader armor because that relationship's changed. It's something like that, right? Those were kind of my initial thoughts. Overall, I tend to be on the team that is supportive of a Vader versus Obi-Wan rematch. I know there's a lot of folks out there who aren't, for a number of reasons, some of which is that it might, I think, in some fans' minds, diminish their encounter in A New Hope. It might kind of maybe remove the kind of perfect finale of Revenge of the Sith, where that conflict ended. Do we really want to reopen what had ended so succinctly and so well? To me, if it's done well, I'll take it all. I'll turn on my lizard brain. I don't care if it's fan service. If it's good and if it's done well, you can, I think, tie it into the stories effectively. It's all about execution, right? You could bring Luke back and it could be terrible. You could bring back, just because it's a good character or a good scene doesn't mean, if the foundation is good, it doesn't mean the final product will be good. I could see them making this to be one of the best, fights we've had in Star Wars, given the technology we have today. I mean, are you kidding me? The way they could do this, I'd love to see it done well. Let's start with Jimmy on this, because I think Ben is going to have some thoughts here, and it might be some back and forth. So take it away, Jimmy. What are your thoughts on the fight? The rematch?
See, this is great because I'm indifferent on it. Honestly, I know, Josh, I know you are for a new fight, and Ben, I know you are
cautious.
Cautious. But I have had so many thoughts about this since it was like first said that, we're going to see a rematch between Obi-Wan and Vader. And I was like, we already saw that though. So for a while there, I was like, this doesn't really make a lot of sense. Why would we want to see a rematch then another rematch. Like I didn't know what the whole concept was. And my first or initial thought was maybe they're going to play up to the point where the last thing we see is the fight on the Death Star, just reimagined with Ewan and Hayden. So that way we could see that hallway fight just at a much grander scale. That was just a thought I had.
Like that really well done fan made version of the fight.
Yeah. And this almost kind of played to that thought to me, because a lot of us are thinking that from this shot that it's going to be on Mustafar, but sure, it's on fire. But if you look again at the architecture, specifically more of the bridge that they're standing on, it seems a little too clean and not as industrial as Mustafar is. This could easily be a bridge either on a Star Destroyer or a Death Star. And the fact that he has his hood up while fighting him could also add to the Death Star potential. And again, it could just be throwing us off by saying, let's throw fire in the background. But maybe this is a vision or a dream of them fighting on the Death Star as it collapses on itself or something like that.
This is to your point, like maybe a vision of what Obi-Wan thinks their final confrontation could be, right?
Yeah.
And in the end, what he kind of does is just very reserved and almost submits just
kind of think about it, like maybe like this is him almost having premonitions of the Death Star being destroyed, which is why he's so shocked in A New Hope when he says that's no moon, it's a space station.
Interesting.
But I am just going way long out there.
No, this is, I mean, and again, let's make this totally clear. This is concept art. They could have early on in the show been like, let's do a Vader Obi-Wan rematch. And as they worked on it, they were like, it doesn't really fit. And so this could be just kind of a cool, design moment. And frankly, we don't see Obi-Wan's face in here. So maybe it's another Jedi who got killed.
Kenobi.
Yeah, we know. We know it.
I'm just letting you know.
We know.
Yeah, I have sources. Obi-Wan.
All right, go ahead. Come on, Ben. Let us know where you're at. Give us your thoughts.
Well, it's obviously, it gets a little bit to a point where you're such a passionate fan to almost like exhausting thinking about this thing and how it's going to play out, because you obviously don't want it to dilute the source material, the episode 4, their first battle when they see each other as elders. And they're obviously talking about when I last saw you. We know which fight he's talking about. There's nothing in between. But, I didn't go into theaters watching the prequels with certain anticipation or expectation. I need this in order for it to be a successful and good Star Wars story. I just wanted to have fun. And I had episodes where I was disappointed because I hyped myself way too much for the sequels. Like I told you, Josh, that I needed episode 7 to be the greatest movie of all time for me. I just needed it to be. That's how excited I was. Obviously, it wasn't that. I had to take it down a notch, take it from there. And I learned that the older I become, the wiser I get. I'm like, you know what? Keep your expectations tempered and don't run yourself into the routine of thinking about this, because eventually you're going to do is what other fans do. And then you criticize them for that. Like, because people are setting themselves up with expectations. And it's like, who are you to demand of George Lucas what Star Wars movie should be like, right? And then he left. And then these new directors come in. Filoni tries his version. Rian Johnson tries his version. They're all fans. I think all of us Star Wars fans can agree that these people revere and worship the series as much as we do. And they're putting their own staple and voice to it. And obviously it's not agreeable with everyone. And obviously the quality lacks in this one or in that one. They're not universal across the board, right? But I think this image is a lesson in itself. It's like, go into it. Don't anticipate much. Anyway, I'm talking too much, but to close the point down, 100% they're going to fight. It's going to be Kenobi on Vader. I am always throwing the vision, dream sequence, what if out the window. No, they're going to fight for real. Because if they're not, fans will crucify Disney and cancel Kathleen Kennedy until tomorrow. Because it's such a grand opportunity to see this once again. It almost overrides all of our sensible thinking and question whether it's going to enhance episode 4 or not. People don't care. They just want to see them duke them out. People want the spectacle of it. And for me, from that perspective, I'm like, okay, Ben, just chill out. See how they're going to do it. See how it's going to come out. But for me, the most sensible way to do it and not tamper with the original episode 4 battle is right after episode 3, where, right when war is over, sometimes in history, it happens too. A faction tries to go back and deliver the final blow and still fail yet again.
Yeah.
What if they have that moment where they return either to Coruscant or, Kenobi stalks Vader with the last clone troopers that he has a hold of, and tries to attack him one more time to see if he can take Vader down, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah. I'll hop in as, as someone who loves the prequel era, as I've talked about on my channel a lot. The prequel era is Star Wars to me, because when I grew up, that was new Star Wars. That was it. The Clone Wars, now extending to the Bad Batch. Obviously, the prequel era to me is near and dear to my heart. It's Star Wars. To see Hayden Christensen and Obi-Wan Kenobi on screen again, Ewan McGregor, I should say. Yeah. It is Star Wars to me. Those are my beloved characters. That's my Luke moment, right? Luke coming back for some fans in Mando was like, oh, that's Star Wars to me. Mark Hamill was not Star Wars to me growing up. Not because he's not key to the series. It's just I didn't have the same sort of connection.
How dare you?
I didn't have the same level of connection to that character that I did to Ewan McGregor. When I was younger, there's something about Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan that has, especially in Revenge of the Sith, I don't know, he's just got some sort of like lovable uncle or stern father vibe to him that you really gravitate towards. So I say all that because I want to see this. I am the fan. This is fan service for me. When they made this show, they looked at, okay, let's look at the generations from 18 to 30. This is their kind, because we're probably the largest demographic of stream watchers. We're probably watching the most Star Wars content, right? If you look at the demographics on my videos, it's basically 90% is like 16 to 40. That's the biggest age range. And those fans a lot of them are going to want to see this because these are our actors. These are our characters. Mm-hmm. And I think we all can't help but enjoy a good lightsaber battle. It is part of Star Wars. You know what I mean? There's the intellect of Star Wars. There's the force of Star Wars. And then there's the magic of a lightsaber duel. And it's why so many people look at the Mustafar scene, the fight scene, Why Long, to be one of their pinnacle Star Wars scenes, because the epicness of it with the music, or heck, we can go to the Darth Maul fight in Phantom Menace. That's another pinnacle. Those lightsaber duels can hit some of the highest highs of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Even with Luke's return, I thought one of the best parts, I thought his lightsaber style, they kind of kept from the original trilogy, and watching him, kind of go, and you're reminded what these Jedi are, right? They are very, very skilled warriors when the time comes. And I say all that just to say, like, I'm on board with this. And I am someone who's naturally going to lean much more forgiving of it because I want to see it, even though it might not make the most sense. And you can explain away A New Hope, the line in A New Hope. Last time you met, I was, a teacher, you could say, oh, well, he still was a teacher. He still was learning. Vader is still learning because he's just, knew the dark side. You can explain that away. I don't really care. I want it to be done well. If it's done well, I'm going to eat it up. I'm going to eat that sucker up because this is my favorite era. So
quick question to both of you guys. Jimmy, you're also a prequel fan, right? You enjoy those movies?
Yeah. I got the Phantom Menace on VHS when it came out in April of 2000. I was a whole 4 years old, and that's where that started.
So question to you guys. The lightsabers are notoriously very distinct stylistically, right? For the prequel trilogy to the original trilogy, where in the original they're much thinner. Looking at this, I know it's just a concept art. We're just goofing, we're talking. Would you prefer lightsabers that kind of have that, Ralph McQuarrie kind of like laser beam kind of thing, or you prefer the prequel? Because here it looks more like it's harkening back to the original.
I was going to tell you, I thought the artwork in here had that thin, I'll call it the thin blade style. Mm-hmm. That's more reminiscent of old. It does look like that in this. I don't care. I want it to be done well. That's how I feel about lightsaber design. You know what I mean? That's whatever design you go with, execute it well. That's kind of my position on movies. I don't know, Jimmy, your thoughts?
I think it's a little difficult, especially because I know this was the first time they'd ever done it with A New Hope. Yeah, the blades were very thin. But even going into Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, especially in Return of the Jedi, Luke's green blade is sometimes just overflowing the hilt. So I think it's just really hard to grasp that. I think it's going to be the same technology used for Ahsoka's lightsabers in The Mandalorian. So they're probably going to stick with something slim to make it more user-friendly for the actor, but also something that's big enough that we'll be able to see it on screen without complication.
One thing I want to call it in the chat, I put it up on the screen. It's, Logan called out, he hopes the choreography is similar to the prequels. He didn't enjoy the sequel trilogy's choreography as much. Definitely understand that. I will say, and we're not going to talk about the sequels for hours here. I did like in The Force Awakens the unrefined nature of the fight. It seemed more like a brawl than because they shouldn't be that trained with lightsabers, and I kind of like the rawness of that versus what we saw here, which were two very well trained Jedi, and Anakin and Obi-Wan. So the choreography really made sense to me.
In their absolute peak, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but a good comment nonetheless. So that's, I think, the bulk of the artwork. Let's double check here. We looked at the shot. We got Old Man Kenobi. We got Vader in his castle. That's it, guys.
I do have one that you missed.
Okay. What am I missing here? Tell me.
I can send that to you on Twitter real quick if you'd like.
Yeah, go for it. Send it my way.
It's nothing over the top spectacular, but I personally was just like very excited when I saw it because when we went to the first location shot that Ben, you said it was very reminiscent of Coruscant. This picture that came out as well it's got to be Coruscant, which makes me very excited because I don't think we've seen enough of it.
Yeah, it
should be mostly like the Imperial District or whatever, the Senatorial District, right, and where Padme stays. That's it. And the Jedi Temple, of course.
Let me go ahead and get this. Ooh, this is a great shot. You're right. I have not seen this one until right now. I have literally not seen this.
You missed that one. Okay.
I missed this one. Oh yeah.
You take it away. Let's hear from you first.
I saw this and was just absolutely pleased because clearly it's got to be somewhere on Coruscant.
It's got to be Coruscant, yeah.
But if not, hey, I'll take it. But I saw this and instantly was like, maybe this is where we start hearing rumors of where Kenobi could be, or maybe this is where we meet the Inquisitor as they're called to the capital, or maybe this is going to be something that's more reminiscent of, and I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but a couple of years ago, there used to be there was concept video that came out for a really old Star Wars TV show that was originally in development and was like canned.
Underworld,
yeah.
And it surfaced again a few years later. This is very reminiscent of that, I think.
Yeah.
My first thought, excuse me, this feels so prequel to me. This feels like I've seen this because you're right, because of Coruscant and the neon lights. I absolutely love the visuals here. I would be very excited to see Coruscant. It makes a lot of sense. I'd really like to see what the Emperor's up to a little bit in the show. I don't think we're going to get into the Emperor.
No.
But I would be curious to see like where is he? I don't know. What I love about the Bad Batch. I love to see the transition from the Empire and seeing how like the general population kind of reacted to that. And we're starting to see a little, thanks to the Bad Batch, we're finally seeing that. So we're seeing a Coruscant now that was under, the rule of the Republic, obviously the Jedi Temple being there. And so a complete 180, right? A complete flip in their style. I would just love to see that explored. I'm not sure how much of that we're going to get, but it would be cool nonetheless. Love this art though. Man, it just feels so prequel to me. It feels like we're, it reminds me of the scene where where Anakin is chasing the bounty hunter shapeshifter right through the city into the bar. I mean, it's just what
when Ahsoka goes. Remember in the Clone Wars show, she goes underground.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a wild theory about this one. All I'm gonna say is, what if we get Windu? Mace Windu survives that fall.
Oh my gosh!
The most gangster, rugged version of Sam Jackson coming back. Put that eye patch on him from Marvel. I don't care, man. And
it's Nick Fury, yeah.
And it's the contrast between him, this guerrilla fighter who decides to stay on Coruscant and hide himself in the Force, but still live in the center where the heart of the Jedi Order was, right? And he's like seeing as the Empire is like spreading its shadow over the galaxy. He's like, oh man, I got to get this together. I got to contact Bail Organa. I got to reach out to Kenobi. We got to do something to fight this, to resist somehow, right? That would be really cool.
That would be something. Let me ask you guys this before we leave Kenobi. We're going to talk about what we expect tomorrow from the reveals. Are we seeing Qui-Gon Jinn in the show?
I hope so. I'm going to be so upset if we don't. It's in the making. It has to happen. He's even said he'd like to come back, so let it happen.
I would be stunned if he's not in the show. I think a total missed opportunity if not.
And I think that's the big reveal. Like they were like, "Hey, Anakin's going to be in it." Everyone was like, "Woo!" But they're like, "Guess what? Liam Neeson's back."
Because Liam Neeson literally went back and did the voice for Clone Wars in some of those episodes. Like it's obvious he loves that character, and a character I think a lot of us would love. So I don't know. Your thoughts, Ben, before we move on?
Yeah, I think Liam Neeson, like you guys said, I'm just gonna repeat what you said. I think it would be absolutely missed opportunity. He needs to come back.
Agreed.
I just want to say one more quick thing
Go
to
ahead.
add to it, because I think, Ben, you'll probably appreciate this one the most. But if you look on that last shot, the building in the very far back, it's got the blue line streaking across it. I saw that, and I instantly thought of the way Coruscant looked in the Jedi Academy games, and I thought, like, if we're gonna get some more ways that the worlds looked in other games, as far as like instead of what we saw in the films strictly, we get to see so much different architecture of Coruscant. I think it would just be perfect.
Yeah. It's another very interesting thing to look at is once again the throne world, the Imperial world original McCrea artworks. He has like these different districts that look really dope. Look into them.
Well, guys, it is going to be exciting, and I think tomorrow we'll kind of hop in. First of all, let me show you guys. This was the kind of this was at the end of the sizzle reel. This was kind of the logo reveal, which I thought was it's a really
So
cool.
clean.
Yeah, it's great effect with the sand. So that might be kind of the official title card. We'll see tomorrow. Really cool. But let's talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow is Disney Plus Day, and this is to celebrate a year of Disney, or I guess 2 years, whatever, years of Disney Plus being out. And they're going to announce new projects, not just for Star Wars, but for Marvel and other, Disney exclusives. There's been a lot of rumors this week, and we're definitely going to talk about, I know people in chat are going to want me to talk about the High Republic news. We've got a lot of rumors about the High Republic and the Old Republic this week. And Rogue Squadron is part of that. I don't think they're going to announce anything like that tomorrow, because this is for Disney Plus only. So I'm expecting a lot of focus on the shows. I'm expecting we're going to get Andor dates. I'm expecting maybe some more Book of Boba Fett stuff, a little behind the scenes sizzle reel. I'm expecting Kenobi, a new trailer, not the sizzle reel from last year, a new trailer, like a minute teaser, similar to what we got for Book of Boba Fett, where it's just, hey, here's the show, get ready. Bad Batch Season 2 teaser is what we're also expecting. And I also think they're going to announce something they have not officially talked about yet. I think we're going to get a new announcement. It could be that Darth Maul animated show they kind of rumored, like the Crimson Reign show. That's what I'm expecting. So many rumors. Yeah, I see chat talking about this too. There's so many rumors. I don't know what to expect. This is our first ever Disney Plus Day. I love that they're doing it, first of all. And I hope the trailers I think it's a great idea, first of all, for a company to take advantage of the new digital age we live in and give the fans something to get excited about, tease us. We might see stuff for Ahsoka as well. It's going to be a wild, wild day tomorrow, we're expecting. I'm sure we're all going to be making videos all day.
Oh, I'm going to be so busy tomorrow.
Yeah, so make sure you're tuning in to everyone's channel. All right, let's start with you, Jimmy. What do you want to see tomorrow most of all? What's your most anticipated? What are you thinking about this first Disney Plus Day?
Easily the first thing I'm looking for is the Obi-Wan teaser, and I just know it's going to be the last thing they show us for Star Wars.
Exactly.
And I think it's either going to be that, or it's going to be Kenobi will be the last thing we see, and then they'll be like, oh, by the way, here's a new thing. Yeah. And I know there was the whole Old Republic and High Republic stuff, but I think if they're going to announce a new project for Disney Plus, I feel like the High Republic as a show would be a better way to put that on Disney Plus as opposed to putting a movie in theaters. Because
it makes the most sense. Yeah.
I think both rumors could possibly be true. And I do think that, like Logan said in the chat there, I think for Disney Plus Day, they could announce either a High Republic show, miniseries, even perhaps movie going straight to Disney Plus. And then when D23 comes out, that's when they're going to talk more about Rogue Squadron being pushed and being replaced with a Old Republic film of some sort. Mm-hmm. The one thing that slightly bothers me, but I don't know enough about it, the Andor sizzle reel, we already got one of those. Now, I don't know how far into production this is, but seeing as this show has been talked about for what feels like 3 years now, they've got to have something they can show us. That I really hope it's not a sizzle reel. I hope it's a teaser. I think that would be more fitting. The sizzle reel and behind the scenes look for Boba Fett Mandalorian Season 3 is to be expected to somewhat. Teaser for Bad Batch Season 2, it's got to happen, or at least artwork around it, I think. But
we know they're filming because we've seen the voice we've seen the voice actors put pictures on Instagram. So
there's enough going on that I want to see more than just sizzle reels. Now, I do appreciate them, but when it comes down to stuff like this, like I really want to react to some trailers. Sizzle reels are great, but give us what we want. You know what we're here for. Just don't tease us anymore.
You know, they do before Ben hops in, they do the same thing for DC fandom. Batman's the end because everyone wants to see the new Batman trailer. So
it's a juggling act.
Yeah, they gotta add a little bit here and there, but they know you're watching that 4 hours just to get to Batman in the last, 20 minutes because that's all I wants to see.
And it was worth it.
And it's a fantastic trailer. Everyone thinks I'm a Disney shill. Big Batman shill here. Love Batman.
No, we are.
Best
We're
thing
all
ever. Yeah.
Always here
Disney
for
shows
Batman.
Big Batman shill here. Warner Brothers, throw me some money too. Ben, looking at you, my man. What tomorrow? I mean, what are you hoping for? What's a success tomorrow for Disney Plus Day? What would make you happy? Like, that was good. I like that.
I'm gonna go a little south here. I think you kind of get the gist of where I am at in terms of like reveals, teasers, sizzle reels. I honestly, that's not what really excites me. What excites me is not all the buzz. I guess I'm a dinosaur in the group. I'm from a different generation. Like, show me something. Don't show me anything. It's like, oh, did you see the latest tweet? The little logo here. I don't care. Give me some meat. I don't want like pastries. What I really am looking forward to from Disney Plus, and it's a hope. I don't know if it will ever be realized, but Star Wars Visions got me really, really excited for an opportunity or a fully animated, completely drawn by hand Star Wars animated show. I recently saw the He-Man Kevin Smith continuation of the He-Man show, which I absolutely loved. It was such an homage to the original franchise, and he put a twist on it. He made it different. I felt he made it very exciting. And what's cool about that is, you guys know my background, I studied traditional animation, is that in modern days, even if they do it, like a lot of these straight to home Marvel or DC animated films, they get away with a lot of CGI effects, like a lot of blur techniques, or sometimes they'll put a 3D background. When you look at the He-Man show, almost everything, unless it's like the most practical thing, like a ship that, flies in 3D, and they really need to show like cool angles, everything is drawn by hand. What I'm hoping for to see someday on Disney Plus, because it begs for it. Like, I also do the reviews, for the androids, the droids show, which I enjoy quite a bit. It's just such a beauty to look at, and it's so distinct from everything else. And I'm gonna kind of like combine it with what Jimmy is saying. I think it's very sensible to put the High Republic as an animated series on Disney Plus versus a live action movie, because it's more digestible. Fans are already excited about the books, but I don't think there's enough of book readers to be excited a full theatrical release. If you introduce us to it gently through like television shows, perfect. And make it 2D. Draw it.
3 thoughts that just came to my mind. First, let's talk about Logan's comment here in chat. I wonder if they'll announce casting news, like who's playing Thrawn, Ezra. That would be a great use of tomorrow. Give us some actors, right? That would be a great idea. That's a good call out there. That's a good call out. Let me also say, let's get Vision Season 2 announced, or a spinoff. Let's get a 9th Jedi show. Let's get an thought was. Let's do that. That's a good call as well. It doesn't have to be a date. Doesn't have to be, just tell us, hey, we've greenlit this project. I think that would be huge as well. Yeah. Just for what a success that would be for Visions to turn around and get a second season. I think Visions was phenomenal. We've talked about all this. Yeah. Phenomenal.
And I want Rian Johnson trilogy. I'm sorry.
Yes, I do, though.
I so want it.
That's going to be in theaters, I think. The last thought I have, and it will segue really well into, let's segue. It's the High Republic. It's the High Republic talk. And we're going to talk about Rogue Squadron sparingly, because I think everyone's kind of digested this. Rogue Squadron's been delayed indefinitely. And to me, that's not good for the movie, because when I hear it delayed indefinitely, I'm a DC fan, so I've had a lot of projects I was excited about delayed indefinitely. All right, I'm still waiting for the Green Lantern movie or show coming out anytime.
Alarms are going on.
Yeah, right? So I'm scared about the future of Rogue Squadron, and we'll talk about that. But the big rumor, and I saw this from a lot of different sources, and it is a rumor, but they're going to put a new unannounced Star Wars movie in that 2023 time slot, and the rumors are it's going to take place long ago. So it's going to be the Old Republic or the High Republic. And first of all, I think I think that's a good idea. I've talked about it on my channel. Let's explore the eras we haven't been to before. If you go to the future, I think that opens some complications. If you go to the past, I think it can almost be a safer path and really, really excite fans. The High Republic and the Old Republic, I think, would both best be suited for shows. I think the High Republic fits the Clone Wars style animated show, would be the perfect home for the High Republic. I think it makes too much sense. I think it's perfect. It keeps that kind of kid friendly hope and kind of inspiration I think the High Republic brings, and it allows it to cross demographics. I think that'd be a fantastic use of the animated medium. Old Republic, I want an adult live action show. It fits too well. It to me would be, and I said it in a video I've made in the past, it would be like a blank check for their adult, this is our adult series. And I'm not saying like Game of Thrones, like, all sorts of.
But it needs to be mature in theme.
Exactly. Mature in tone. Exactly. Kids can watch it, of course, but let's make it a little bit more aimed at adults. Kind of like the High Republic has the young adult books and the adult books, like Light of the Jedi, etc. Like that idea. I think the Old Republic would be suited very well there. And I think they'd be foolish not to do those two things. However, I strongly believe after the last couple weeks, we are going to get more projects in the High Republic era. I think Disney has created that zone. And I think they're starting to build the foundations with these books to allow them to visit them, not just in shows, but another announcement as of today, I'll have to go to my feed to find it, was that there is big rumors that one of the new Star Wars games we're getting is going to be set during the High Republic era as well. It's the one, the Quantic Dream Star Wars game is rumored to be called Star Wars Eclipse, and it'll be set during the High Republic era. So the reason I bring this up is we've got like 3 or 4 stories this week, all rumored to be High Republic content. That tells me where there's smoke, there's fire. It tells me they're looking to explore that era. It's a set that Disney has total creative control over because they've built it. And I think it gives them a lot of freedom to tell stories, both for movies and for games. So I know I said a lot there, but I think we are going to start exploring the Old Republic and the High Republic. I really feel like it's going to happen within the next 5 years. And these rumors, they might not totally pan out, but when we start getting this level of frequency, to me, again, I think when there's smoke, there's fire. Let's start over with Jimmy. Jimmy, your thoughts on the High Republic? Are we going to see it anywhere in these games, in these movies, in these shows? Is it ever going to pop up in the bigger media outside of the books?
I think it would not be smart to not explore other routes of ways to do this, because even from the start, they showed like everyone that they were partnered with to make all of this. And now if you're just going to limit yourself to print-based media with a little bit of audio format, I don't think it would be the best choice when you have such great storytelling going on, regardless of all of the hateful people out there that I guarantee would love this if all those lightsabers were red, apparently, but
yes, me, no,
no, because it's ripe for storytelling, like they said when they announced it. And I think, this would have a great success as an animated show, especially since you already have one audio drama with potentially more on the way. Get those people back to reprise those roles. You already have those right there at your fingertips. As far as Old Republic goes, I do agree. I do think it should be live action in a hour episode setting, just like that, because I think it'd be more important, unless you could find a way to go and do the kind of like the CGI. If you kept it in that style, I think that would also be very successful. I do agree that it needs to be dark to fit the tone, but I don't think it needs to be this horrible R-rated thing that everyone is like wanting, because you don't need it.
I don't think we'll ever see that in Star Wars.
We won't.
We watched Anakin get burnt alive, and it was PG-13. You're fine.
I would say the tone I was envisioning was almost more of what we saw in Dune. Maybe not that dark, but Dune has that kind of political scheming, kind of ominous feel that I think the Old Republic would suit. But anyway, that was kind of what I envisioned.
Yeah, because the politics of the Old Republic, it's very prominent because it's a very serious time. And it doesn't necessarily have to be dark as in just like gruesome.
Yeah.
Dark in tone as far as just the seriousness of it. No silly jokes. It's just it's a time when everybody is fighting each other at drastic measures. You got to take this stuff seriously. And I think that would be a way for that to go. Now, if the rumor is that Rogue Squadron, it was delayed because Patty Jenkins is very busy, but if they decided to replace that with a date for an Old Republic movie instead, I'd be shocked if that happened, because what are the odds that they're going to make a full-fledged movie and nobody's knowing about it?
Yeah,
good point. Ben, let's pass it over to you. I got a couple comments on the High Republic side, but I don't know. What do you think? Where is it suited? Does it fit here? I mean,
I think as far as a new movie is concerned, I would chance it more on the Old Republic, because it's much more established IP, and I think its canonization is inevitable. I mean, it's not going anywhere. It's a money-making machine. It's revered by fans, and if you want to completely alienate yourself from the fans and be completely tone deaf, the last thing you want to do is put an axe on the Old Republic. So I can see a Revan movie, a starter off a standalone movie, not necessarily a trilogy. Say you guys knew about Old Republic all along. Here's a standalone movie. Here's a dark, mature one.
It's a way we could get the dyad brought in, just saying, for all the new canon. Mara, you can get the connection between Bastila and Revan. So
as far as the video game is concerned, I would die for a High Republic game because, like Jimmy, you mentioned, I'm actually in the process of listening to the audio book, the radio drama. Nice. I finally caved in. It's the first audio book I purchased with my hard-earned cash. I love all the voice actors, especially Lorna D and Master Skier. Oh my God, hearing Skier is just amazing. Just imagine that amount of talent in the video game. And I think some fans underappreciate how dark the High Republic gets. I mean, it gets pretty much out there like the Old Republic. There's a lot of stuff happening. And, if I was kind of questioning who the Nihil are in the beginning, now they are a force to reckon with. And they did it in such an interesting way that, they know how to fight the Jedi because they're crafty, not because they're more powerful. Translate into a video game format would be absolutely amazing.
I think one thing that the High Republic, the misconception is because I think it has that very Art Deco look to it. And it's very much like for Light in Life, people think it's like some like kidified version of Star Wars. Man, I mean, Light of the Jedi, I mean, it's a bloodbath. A lot of characters die in Light of the Jedi. They're not afraid. And I think, I look at A Test of Courage as one of the first kids books, which gets pretty dark as well. So I totally agree with you. I just think the style and the world they've built really does fit a video game or animated series really well. Not that movies wouldn't work or shows wouldn't work, because we all have been told Acolyte comes at the end of the High Republic. So we're apparently going to get a live action show. I'm not saying it wouldn't work. I'm just saying think about this, guys. Think about how many characters there are in the High Republic and how many new ones we could introduce. To me, it's easier to do that in animated or in video games than it is in live action. I think that's where I'm going with it. So just my thoughts.
Oh, and I agree. And I think it's the best part about the High Republic is that it is as dark as everyone wants it to be. No one just wants to give it the chance, because one of the things that if you look in universe, the reason that it is so dark and gruesome is that the Nihil are just straight up terrorists. That's just all they are. And you sit there and you go like through the Civil War, and you're like, the Empire truly believes that the Rebel Alliance is a group of terrorists that are trying to just destroy everything, when in reality, the Nihil is what that truly was, and they've just clearly forgotten what a real threat could look like.
Yeah, it was definitely an interest, and they talk about in the Light of the Jedi, especially, minor spoilers, but like there's a part where the Nihil, for lack of a better word, start like kamikazing themselves. They're just like, like we're just going kind of wild here. Like the lack of self-preservation is quite an interesting take. But anyway, we don't need to spend too much time on this. I hope that we get to see both of these eras explored. People have come to my channel. I love both. I like all things Star Wars. When you announce cool projects, I'm interested. So I want to see both. I hope they do this. And the reason this has come up, we'll kind of transition over to the story. I mean, this is so funny to me that this story like started the week off. Now it feels like a minor story with how much craziness has been going on. But Rogue Squadron, which was announced with Patty Jenkins coming out, putting on the helmet, saying, "Hey, my dad, was a fighter pilot or whatever, and I'm really excited to make this." I think something that Disney was pretty proud of, grabbing Patty Jenkins as she was really hot in the directing scene, giving her a project that we've probably had a lot of fan interest in, and it got delayed indefinitely. And that really does freak me out for the future of this movie, because when I hear that, what they talk about is that, well, she had commitments to do Cleopatra and commitments to do Wonder Woman 3. And so they couldn't figure out the scheduling. I don't know. I just don't know what the future holds for this movie. Now, as I talked about on my channel, I've never been a real avid reader or consumer of Squadron-based Star Wars content. I haven't read Alphabet Squadron yet. I haven't read Rogue Squadron yet. So I was kind of hoping this would maybe spark that interest for me, because typically the pilot scene has not really been my area of focus. So I'm actually pretty bummed about this. And I think Patty Jenkins did a fantastic job with the first Wonder Woman. I think Wonder Woman 84 was a little bit, I think it leaned into the 80s hokiness a little too hard to where it almost crossed over into poorly written. Just my 2 cents. I don't know if the backlash for that movie maybe hurt her here because she wrote Wonder Woman 84. She did not write the original Wonder Woman. And people started to say, well, why did the quality drop so hard from the first to the second? So I hope that's not what's happening here. Ben, take it away. What are your thoughts on the Rogue Squadron movie? Is it coming out? Did you want to see it to begin with?
To be honest with you, that was a very odd announcement for me. I'm the first guy to wave the books around by Michael Stackpole and say, guys, if you want to read Star Wars, please, please, please. I'm literally like shoving it down the fans' throats because it's that freaking good. But when they made this announcement, to be honest with you, it didn't make much sense, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because Rogue Squadron, if they were to do anything remotely similar to what's in the books, it relies heavily on its cast. But then you can't have the same cast because it's now canon, right? I don't know if the movie would have sailed and succeeded based on the premise of entire new cast. Right, you have Wedge Antilles, you have Calcutta. Obviously, you can't do Wedge Antilles unless you recast. And I don't know if Disney and Lucasfilm was there to start recasting these actors yet, because we see hesitation there, right? So I don't know. I was kind of lukewarm with this announcement to begin with. I'm like, okay, if they do it, if it's going to be another Rogue One kind of thing where we didn't expect it, we didn't know we wanted, but damn, it's so good.
Yeah,
we want to see continuation. So the fact that it's not being made, my only concern was that the fans don't judge Patty Jenkins too harshly, that because Wonder Woman 2 wasn't as good as Part 1. There's so many people involved with the film. It's not just the writing, although it's very important. It's not just the directing, which is too also very important. It's a concert of people. This is why I always say George Lucas is the poster child. He's the face of Star Wars. He's not the only person who created Star Wars. It's as much as John Williams, as Ralph McQuarrie and all the sound effects guys, and all the people involved. Same here. I would love to see her come back, give her a chance, and maybe direct something that's not even related to Rogue One. Just give her a Star Wars project. She seemed to be very passionate about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Before we hop over to Jimmy, let me just call it Logan's comment. And I kind of said something similar in my video. He said, I'm not a Kathleen Kennedy hater by any means, but her inability to retain the same writers and directors is a bit frustrating as a fan. I agree. There's been a couple times here where it's like we're switching directors, we're switching, we're losing writers, we're losing, I don't like that either, because to me it just feels like what's happening, right? What is happening there where, we lost some of the original directors for the sequel trilogy. We lost Solo, totally blanking on the original director. Not Edgar Wright. It was someone else. But anyway, lost that crew. We lost the Game of Thrones writers, which maybe deservedly so. But my point is we do seem to have a revolving door a little bit, and that I don't like that either. That can be kind of frustrating. But go ahead, Jimmy. Give me your thoughts on this project. Where are you at?
I've got a lot on this one. So first off, yeah, it does suck that it got delayed, and I'm right there with you when you mentioned the DC stuff. I'm still waiting for Nick Cage to be Superman, but I don't think so. Yeah, Wonder Woman. Just because she couldn't write a great script for a Wonder Woman movie does not instantly mean that she's going to write a bad script for a Star Wars movie. Her background with her family being in the military and fighter pilots, I think, is a strong play here. And I'm very excited for this. I want to see what they're going to do with this. I grew up playing the original Rogue Squadron game on the N64, played it to death. It was wonderful. And I love the Alphabet Squadron books. So I'm hoping that this is something that is going to be fantastic. And if it's delayed because they want to make sure they keep her for this project, then I think it's safe. I also, even Star Wars Explained said it in his last live stream. He's like, I would want them to take the time to make sure that they really got this movie as they want it, with who they want working on it, as opposed to just quickly getting rid of her and getting another director just to make sure they can keep that 2023 window. So I think it's a safe play, although, yes, there is room for concern with, is she going to continue to do it, or is something drastic going to change between now and the new release date, which I think they said they wanted to move it to 2024.
Something like that.
So.
Yeah. It's been hard for the movie industry with COVID, shuffling schedules. Yes, shuffling schedules have been challenging. I mean, man, not to keep harping on DC, but the Batman was supposed to come out in October, which would have fit perfectly because it's a Halloween movie. You know, like we had to move it out to March. I mean, Dune got pushed back a number of times. So this is just the nature of filming, and that means schedules could get bogged down because you have projects you're committed to later on. Look, I totally agree. I think Patty Jenkins has such a enthusiasm for the IP she works on in her interviews that I'd love to see her get a shot at this. I hope she does. I hope they get it right. And I hope they make new fans out of folks like me and others who maybe haven't dived into these characters a lot before.
Guys, I want to very quickly just respond to Logan, his last quote, that he's not fully, convinced that it's not, Kathleen Kennedy and stuff like this. I can't pretend to be like I work in the industry. I know it's inner workings. None of us really do know or understand what's happening behind the closed doors. But once again, I had a lot of professionals come in, professional script writers, film directors. I have one of the animators from Disney who drew like Little Mermaid and Aladdin as my Facebook group friends.
Humble brag.
Yeah, humble brag. We did talk to people who worked in the industry, and they said, guys, it's such a political nightmare to get half of your vision across, to get the art department to agree with these guys, to get the right budget, to talk to the executives. Sometimes the executives are the ones who understand what needs to be done. They can't get enough things, in terms of budget or scheduling. It's such a chaotic process. I think Star Wars fans and modern fans in general who consume so much content, right? We began our podcast with that. It's like, give me Disney Plus, movies. I'm paying for it, right? So it has to be booked. You have no right to mess this up because I followed this franchise all my life and I'm paying the money. Unfortunately, the nature of the business is there's so many elements involved.
Yeah, it's true. It is chaotic time. I want to call out a couple things before we go to kind of our fun section, which is we just talk about what else stuck out to us this week. Do not ever click links in chat from people called webcam 18 plus. Do not click those links. I blocked those users, but if you're in here and you see those type of spam comments, please do not click those guys.
Do you see like Dancing Twi'leks in there? I didn't get it. What is that?
We have timeline vet all of our links before you guys click them, so be careful.
This poor computer.
Yeah, do not be looking out there. Let's talk about a couple fun things. I want to start with High Republic related content. As you guys know, Heroes and Villains is like my go-to Star Wars merch site. I am currently wearing their sweater. I'm currently wearing their hat.
You're shilling for them?
Please sponsor me. Yeah, I am. I shall. Hey, if you make good products, I'll shill for you. So They came out this week with High Republic. Now they have a bunch of fantastic non-High Republic stuff, but they came out with High Republic t-shirts, which this is an awesome shirt, by the way. I really love this artwork from when they announced the project. So to see it on a shirt, I think is great. We get Loden on here.
My boy right there.
Loden, love Loden. Great first look there. And we even have a hoodie, which I really enjoy. And supposedly a hat will be coming out. So you'll see that on the channel as soon as I can. I really like, this is unique. I don't know if it's going to work for everyone, but I enjoy that the High Republic has that kind of Art Deco vibe to it that feels very unique. This part, especially to me, just looks like kind of golden age. So I don't know if it's going to work for everyone. I like that it's kind of like a conversation starter. People are going to ask you, what is, and you have to tell them, oh, it's this new fun era of Star Wars. So I really like the pieces on here. Wanted to let everyone know that you guys can check out some new High Republic.
Can you click the one on the lower left, please? I want to see that one.
Right here?
Yeah, that looks sick.
Yeah, it is.
See, with me, I don't respond. It's going to sound ironic. I'm a graphic designer. I don't like just graphic shirts. It needs to have like characters, pictures. That's what I mostly respond to because some storytelling happening here. Like you look at this one. I don't think we've seen this art before.
Yeah, anyway. I don't even know who they are.
Right?
This is probably initial, if I were to guess, it's probably initial passes. Maybe that's a Stellan first pass, the bearded figure in the back. Whatever it is.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's very good. I think it is very good. They need to ship to Canada. I guess they don't ship to Canada. Oh my goodness. I didn't even think about that. See, got to expand my horizons here. It's very cool stuff though, guys. They have a lot of other cool Star Wars stuff. I'm not going to shill for them too hard, but like the way I look at this is it's kind of like the next level of graphic tees. Like you just have some really cool stuff. I mean, that you can get. They do really fun sort of I don't know. I just love their stuff. And I love that they have High Republic stuff. It's very cool to me that they're expanding High Republic into kind of the more mainstream sites as well. Because I mean, this site is full of like the classics. I mean, so much, Boba Fett, Rebel gear, all that stuff. So to see the High Republic, even some Ronin stuff. So to see the High Republic up there too, really cool. Really excited about that.
Nice.
Let's talk about a story here from Mr. Timeline himself. Did this come out today? Fill me in here. What's going on with Knights of the Old Republic on the Switch?
So it did come out today digitally, because I've seen quite a load of videos coming out there on YouTube. Can we confirm the date, please? Just make sure I'm not deluding people.
Available now? It's available now.
Yeah, so it is available. So this is a perfect opportunity for fans who probably have heard of this game and didn't get the chance to play it. You don't have Steam. It was available for PC all these years, but now that we are on current gen of consoles, obviously you can't play it, and now they finally release it. Guys, it's like I believe I looked at a quick video comparing it to the PC version. So they are targeting 60 frames per second with all the visual bells and whistles from the PC. So it's like the ultimate version of the vanilla game that you could play. I think anybody who calls themselves Star Wars fans and like touch a single video game in your life, I don't care if it's Mario or Tetris, run right now, purchase Switch, and just play it. This game is a blast. I'm doing my own playthrough on the channel, but what I decided to do, so I played it originally when it first came out in 2003. That's 17 years ago, right? So I'm going back into it right now, and I actually said, well, I know the game. Let me just like make it a little bit more sexy visually and like speed it up, put it like widescreen mode, HD graphics. So I did that, but I can't believe how much this game still holds up in terms of voice acting, storyline, music, lore. Like I'm just sitting there talking to NPCs all day. I'm like, tell me more. I want to learn more. It's just so fun, man.
That's why it's held up, I think, for as long as it has. That's why we're getting remakes of it.
And it's only $15 on my.
There you go.
Hold on a second, guys. I'm going to go ahead and buy it.
Only $15 is a value, and you can play it on mobile. You can play it on the go. This is something I probably will take advantage of. I know you can get it on. I think you could get like an iOS version of it or an Android version. I think you literally get it on a mobile device.
I think you can get both of them now. They're like $10 on iOS and on the Play Store.
That's awesome.
Oh, you're talking about part 2 that is also available for like smartphones?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
It is getting bored, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to get a little bit distracted here.
Let me call out some updates in chat here as well. I see a couple folks hopped in late. Hey, we always appreciate if you guys show up at all. Don't have to avoid those real world responsibilities to come hang out with us. Anytime you guys stop by is very exciting. So we appreciate seeing you here, no matter what time you dive in. Let me show you a couple other things why we have Timeline literally purchasing this game.
It's getting filled right now, man. It's getting filled right now.
So I just want to call out for the High Republic fans out there today on Star Wars website. We did get a couple of snippets from Wave 3. So this is out.
Nice. I didn't see that.
Yep. It's out on the Star Wars site as of today, the 11th. Yep. So go check it out. We get a look, I think, at Mission to Disaster.
Beautiful.
So that was art. It is. It's a really good cover. The whole Wave 3 covers are fantastic. So really excited about that.
Oh, yeah. That one, I've also seen these. This has been up for a couple of days now, right?
This came out today.
Oh, this
snippet. Yeah. Well,
I've seen it today.
I think it came out today. I mean, we're gonna work with that assumption that I'm not getting crazy here. So very cool. Very cool nonetheless. I also, let's see here. What other fun stories do we have here today? Let's go to the Twitterverse and see what popped up in the likes today. This was fun. I saw this behind the scenes look at Jango Fett. It was very cool. But I did want to call this one out as well, which was we're getting what they call Under the Helmet. It's a Legacy of the Boba Fett like documentary coming out in Disney Plus tomorrow as part of Disney Plus Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Absolutely.
How long is it going to be? Like full length? Like 40
I think it's like 30 or 40 minutes. So let me tell you guys, I follow the Boba Fett fan club and in the Star Wars underworld, and there are 2 Twitter feeds that are really focused on Boba Fett, obviously.
You got it right there.
It's been done.
Oh my goodness.
It's been done, man.
Doing it live. Oh, we're going to talk about this in a second.
We got this.
Let's see if I can find the official. I believe it comes out tonight at midnight Pacific, I believe. So if you guys are up,
interesting.
Let's double check here. Yeah. Those who have already seen Under the Helmet doc on Disney Plus are saying great things about it. It's a 21-minute documentary, so it's kind of the background. The 21-minute backstory premiered already in both Europe and expected to drop tonight at 12 a.m. So that's going to come out on Disney Plus Day. Cool. For me, I'm absolutely going to watch this because
So wait, I'm a little confused. Are they actually going back to the history of how the character was created, the original actor, that first concept art, all of that stuff?
Yes. So you'll see here, this is what it's going to look like when it does pop up on Disney
Oh,
FUD.
that's
It's
dope.
celebrating the origins and legacy of Star Wars. And you could see here just from these photos, it's kind of the original sketches and the first kind of costume. I think it'll be right up your alley timeline.
Nice.
So be on the lookout for that. Wanted to call that out as well. One other fun thing, I tweeted time to sell your kidneys when this was announced. But this is, so for those Lego fans, as you guys see behind me, I have a little bit of Legos of Lego dollars over here. I have the Bad Batch shuttle over there. I also have Mandalorian Starship, and then I have the Daily Bugle for Spider-Man. This is like my huge
R2 on the top.
Yeah, R2 on the top, and then we also have Darth Maul right here. So I love Legos. Big fan. So Lego has something called UCS. It's Ultimate Collector's Series. These are like the granddaddy big boy Lego sets. And when I say that, I mean $800 Lego sets. Okay, guys, I'm talking. I do not think I'm getting this one. I would love it for a number of reasons. So just these two pictures kind of tell the story. First of all, it's absolutely huge. So it is what they consider minifig, like 1-to-1. So it's scaled to where one minifig is like actually how a human would sit inside of the AT-AT. So that's really cool. I love that. Also, it's like 2 feet tall. Like it's like 24, 25 inches tall. It's awesome. Wow. The legs actually, so what took them so long to make this was the weight. They actually couldn't figure out how to get the legs to support the weight of the whole thing. So it's huge. It's awesome. I think, can you guys imagine it right there, right next to the ships where the Daily Bugle is?
It's going to look great in your setup.
How cool. And so then they also added a cross-section view. So both the head and the inside, you can actually display it like a cross-section with the interior showing. And you see the minifigs like look to scale, right? And so the minifig not in this picture is Luke hanging from the bottom. You do have Luke kind of hanging from the bottom. This little, I don't know if you guys can make it out in the picture. These are snow speeders, 2 of them loaded in there like they would be in an AT-AT. And then the troopers ready to get deployed. And they also have in the cockpit. Let's see if we can pull up the full view. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I think it's amazing.
That looks sick, man.
I think it's amazing.
I'm a massive Lego fan myself. I've had those for ever. Like I've got the Lego tumbler over there, and I've got the white Kessel Run Falcon over on my bookshelf.
Okay.
And I've been constantly following M&R on YouTube, who does Star Wars Legos, and he was going on and on about this. And for me personally, I would love this set. I don't think I'm gonna spend the money for it because I remember when the first Lego AT-AT came out in like 2003, I want to say. I wanted it so bad and never got it, and I still haven't. So like one of those would be wonderful. But I think if I had to pick, I think I would pick the UCS Falcon over this. However, it is finally about time that this came out. And also I like what you mentioned about the weight, because there's like bolts and screws in the legs that help you like keep it up because it's so heavy. And I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work, but like they've done weird stuff before with like the electronics and the Technic stuff. So I'm sure this is going to be functional to some degree, but it is mainly for display.
Complete. Look,
yes.
Christmas is coming.
Oh,
if you have a loving girlfriend, you just like, look, if our relationship means something to you, like this is really important to me. And I'm just letting you know, just throw it out there, man. See what happens.
She's brought that up before. She's like, I want to get you that Falcon so bad. I was like, that's $800.
Hey, I'm
right there.
I'm putting the comments on you. $800 is okay. So we talked about the Star Wars hotel being insanely expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like one meal at the Star Wars hotel.
Literally, that's just to get in the door.
You got to think about that. I got to say, it's just a little bit out of my price range. Here's the full cross section. I love that the head of the AT-AT also has it, so you can see the pilots up here. It's really a fantastic collector's piece. It's priced out for me. I cannot justify spending that much money, but it does look amazing for the folks who are going to get it. I'm happy for you because this is an amazing piece, and you can see some of the Lego actual screw driver process is happening here.
And you know what I also really like about it? It is still Lego, but if you're the type of fan who prefers things on a more realistic side, it still looks very believable, right? Like it's not disproportionate. Like it doesn't look like a toy.
I would love to display it just like this with the cross section showing. So it's like, it's like one of those posters. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Super cool. Hope whoever gets it, I hope you guys love putting it together, because I love sitting down and walking through the building, a cool model like that. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun, to say the least. So those are what I had in my kind of fun Star Wars tidbits. Let me throw it out to you guys. What else came out this week that we should talk about? Is there anything else we missed?
The Knights of the Republic came out. I know it because I just got it, guys. Go get it.
All $15.
What's that?
Only $15.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought it was going to be like $25 or something.
15. And I did want to add to that because, like KOTOR is a game I've bought both KOTOR 1 and 2 at least 3 times each for like multiple. I got it for Xbox. I got it on PC, and it's held up so well. You're absolutely right, Ben. Like, even like if you have the graphics turned down, like sure, it doesn't look the best, but still the story just keeps you driving through. Yeah. So having access to it on a Switch, like I got a Switch Lite, so it goes with me just about everywhere. So having KOTOR on that, being able to play it without any complications, you don't have to worry about Steam crashing or, your Xbox not able to read the disc, having it fresh and HD revamped right
and
there.
on the go, man. It's like, I think that's the selling point. I have it on road trips, right? Yeah. But to having on road trips, you're right. Yeah.
Like to everyone like you, Josh, like if you haven't played it and you want a chance to, it's a very cheap option and it's easily accessible and it'll run perfectly. And especially if you're a fan of D&D, the whole game was built off of the 3.5 system. So it plays, if you play D&D and you play this game, you'll be like, oh, this is how it actually works.
That's fascinating.
So I think it's really cool. It gives you time to like pause and select what moves you want to do. And it's just wonderful.
I'll tell you guys, I have been so on the fence about picking this up because of the remake. Part of me is like, okay, should I just wait and experience it the first time during the remake, or should I play it so I know what to compare it to? Like, I'm really struggling here. I made a video when the announcement came out, and there was some like immediate backlash because some of the writers, assigned to the project, had tweets that were, whatever. Right. So what I talked about that, and I don't know
what that means, but that's what
I'm not going to get into the content of the tweets because I don't really care. Right.
Hey, you made a great video about it. Hey, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I didn't care. I got a lot of hate on that video. I didn't really care what the individual said. I said, let's just wait and see what the game is like. We don't know what their role is. I got a lot of people absolutely ripping me because I have not played the original, and their point was basically, if you haven't played, KOTOR, how can you even comment on this? Which I thought was really unfair, but maybe I need to go ahead and play it so then I can get the gatekeeping removed from me talking about it.
I would say, like, obviously we know there's a bunch of big secrets in that game that are considered spoilers. Do you know any of those, or do you know nothing? Wow, that's
all honestly. So I know more about, because I've read the Revan book, but that's connected more to the MMO, right? That's a lot more connected to the MMO, and so I understand that kind of point of view. So I do that book, if you guys have read it, I do think touches on some of what happens in Knights of the Old Republic. So I do think I know some of it, but not
most of
all of it. Okay.
Yeah. I would say, as far as, the story's probably going to be the same, but I would say, play the original version first, only because I wonder how much the mechanics are going to change. Like, I'm sure they're going to keep the mechanics, but I think they're going to try to make them a lot more smooth and user-friendly, because there were times where it could be frustrating. So if you want to compare both the graphical update as well as how well the game just runs in general, I'd say, it's $15. You play it on Switch, go anywhere.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I love it. You guys are selling me on it right now. And for those who joined late,
and it's going to be a pretty long wait regardless. It's like
and it's 3-4
years
game.
Until the game is made. No reason to do that.
Yeah,
that's a great point. And for those who don't know, who joined late, we're talking about the Knights of the Old Republic. Switch launch came out this week, so $15. We're excited about it. I do want to just say one thing to my friend Giafet in the comment. He totally agrees with me here. There's way too many people involved in making a game that you're gonna like everyone. I mean, this is ridiculous to me. Like, I can't live in a world where like I have to agree with everyone who touched something I like. It's way too much. I'm not interested in doing that right now. So anyway, enough on that. But that was my opinions on that. So two other things kind of popped up in my head as we were talking. Kind of what I would call some mid-range stories. So Kevin Feige, head of the Marvel Empire, has been is going to have a Star Wars project, and it looks like the director right now is going to be, I believe it's Chloe. I think it's Zhao or I'm gonna announce
Chloe
it
Zhao.
for it. This is Oscar winner who directed the Eternals. I'm not going to talk about that either, but directed the Eternals. I think has a fantastic eye for shots. I think just some phenomenal cinematography in the movies I've seen of hers. So I think it'd be a really cool fit if they go that way. I think she tells mature stories as well. So that gives me hope the project is going to have kind of a, not a Marvel-fied tone. You know, it's going to maybe strike that balance. So that was nothing confirmed here yet. Don't want to speculate too much, but I think it'd be a cool pick. So I wanted to call that out as well.
I have not seen any of her work. I honestly don't know what's happening. Again, the best way to go into it is like keep following the news, keep following the buzz. When it comes out, then it's like you judge it based on that.
Yeah. Yep.
The only real concern I would have is now you've got Patty Jenkins' Star Wars movie, you have the potential of Rian Johnson's trilogy, you've got Taika Waititi's movie, you've got Kevin Feige's movie. It's like, cool. I'm all for all of these. I really am, but just like, let's get one of them out and then go to the next one.
Yes.
Don't announce all of them at one time. Because now I'm like, because like
point.
even with the Investor Day, sure, they announced like 1,700 shows and I'm excited for all of them. I was just like, this is just a lot. Like, where do I want to focus first? Because I'm so focused on the Acolyte right now. I'm so excited for it, but I know nothing about it. I'm like, can we get to that one?
When it's even coming out, yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. All right, let's call one more fun thing out here. This was the only footage I'm going to show you from the sizzle reel that was just ripped from the internet. We got some saber training here, which I thought was cool to see. We know we're going to get used. We know the sabers are going to be getting used. I love to see them. I think this would be such a fun part of the job. Can you guys imagine?
Oh yeah, like the behind the scenes for within a minute, the making of Star Wars Episode 3, the way they showed how they did all the lightsaber fights was like my favorite thing. So seeing this is just so reminiscent of that, and I'm just pumped for it.
It's cool. I love it.
If you guys remember the hype machine for the prequels, they actually showed a great deal about like the whole DNA of the films before they dropped in movies. You saw the documentaries weeks before the movies came out. You saw like the red carpet premiere. You saw George Lucas post the film release, coming off from the red carpet talking about the movies. You were like oversaturated with the movies because obviously the internet was not there, right? We didn't have YouTube.
Yeah.
Even with internet, information didn't travel fast enough. And just being saturated with stuff like that on television, you're right. I'm looking at this right now. I'm like, oh man, I remember when they were showing like the Attack of the Clones and the Revenge of the Sith, all those documentaries I used to watch. And then they had great History Channel ones where George Lucas was interviewed and he was talking about the greater themes. That's dope.
Yeah.
It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan.
Oh, absolutely. Always a great time.
I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm excited what we're going to see. Before we go back to the face cams, I will call out again, Star Wars Complete on the channel today. Guest, I'm sure we'll be seeing more and more of him throughout the week. Make sure you go subscribe. His link should be in the description.
Let's get 300, man.
Yeah, should be in the description. I will make sure. If it's not, it is soon. Go check him out. We love having him on the show. I'm sure he'll be on for more episodes to come. Let's go back to the face view for kind of our sign off. Anything you guys wanted to call out before we wrap up today? I thought it was a very exciting week. I think tomorrow is going to be very exciting. I don't even know what the surprise announcements could be. I'm just going to go in and be happy for anything we get. Anything before we wrap up from your guys? Let's start with you, Timeline. What do you got?
I do have one thing. Did you guys watch the Corridor Cruise little segment they did on the lightsaber fencing?
No.
I don't think I did.
Corridor Crew are these wonderful special effects guys on YouTube, have a huge channel. Please do me a favor. I think it's going to be a great topic of discussion for next week.
Okay.
They did it. It's already a week or so old, where they said that they felt that the sequel movies weren't inventive enough with the Star Wars fencing and taking into account what the lightsaber weapon is like and kind of advancing it in terms of ideas, what a lightsaber battle would look like. Do me a favor, just if you don't want to watch the full like 20 plus episode, you could watch the movie at the end where it's like a 5-minute short where they have fencing. It completely blew my mind, but I wanted to hear your thoughts on it. It's a lightsaber battle that the likes of which I don't think we've ever seen anywhere.
Would this be the video that we asked?
That's the video.
Okay.
That's the
so
video.
Here's the video.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I won't spoil it now. I'll link it down below. We could talk about it.
You guys watch it. I think it'll be a very cool segment to begin with next week because it's honestly not great news, but it's something that connects very well into the Kenobi show, right? We just got a little training snippet. Where's this going to go?
Cool. Very good call out.
Yeah.
All right. Jimmy, over to you. What's going on? Anything you want to call out before we wrap up?
Now we've covered just about everything. Again, just thanks for having me on. This was an absolute
It
delight.
was a pleasure.
Yeah,
It really
good.
was. It was a good conversation all around.
I will tell, everyone who joins, Ben and Jimmy and everyone who comes in the chat as well. It is a lot of fun to interact with you guys, to have these broadcasts. I mean, we're all small creators here. This is really just for our fun more than anything. No one's making our living doing this. We just enjoy talking to you guys, interacting with you guys. Yeah. Disney, my paycheck from Disney keeps getting lost. I don't know what's going on. So it is a ton of fun.
That direct deposit.
Yeah, I sent them my bank information to that link that came up in our chat. I gave them my bank information. I just want to say a couple things to the folks who are here. We typically stream on Thursday nights. We are sometime between 7 and 8 Central. We have fans, I know, in varying time zones. We try to accommodate everyone we can. So we apologize if we miss when you're free, but we will continue to do these throughout the year. Let us know how you like the new format. We changed up the software a little bit. If there were problems, you guys didn't like it, etc. Let us know.
We liked it.
Yeah,
it was successful. We
glad.
can honestly say this live stream was successful.
I'm going to end this. I'm going to go watch the recording. I'm going to be like, what? It's going to be like upside down, and I'm going to find out that it is garbage.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun though, guys. So seriously, make sure you subscribe to these guys, like their videos, tune in, and we're going to be here next week, kind of reacting to what comes tomorrow. I know we're all going to make videos talking about it, but we'll come back refreshed, refocused, and ready to go. Hope you guys have a great night. I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys for stopping by. We'll see you again very soon.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks, guys.